Hello, and welcome to this class, How to Create a Decluttering Plan that actually works for you and your mom life. So just real quick, this class, sorry, I can hear my kids. This class is about an hour long. It works best if you can have a pen and a paper. And if possible, if you can get a red, yellow, and green pen or colored pencil or marker, it will help you create this visual plan a lot better. So it's about an hour long. I do have some slides to share with you, so let me get those opened up and we will get going because I just kind of want to dive into it and not waste your time with a whole lot of fluff. I am going to waste your time for just a second while I get my screen share up though. Okay. So I'm gonna have to get to the beginning. Here we go. How to create a decluttering plan that works for your mom life. What you need to know in order to make it happen. And by it, I mean decluttering your home once and for all, even if you have kids at home. So my name is Krista Lockwood. I am the founder of Motherhood Simplified. I have 5 kids. This year we have been homeschooling and they range in age from 1 all the way up to 14. So when I tell you you can do this, I'm not just telling you something, I'm not just like saying, hey, yeah, you should declutter your house. I think that's something you should do. It's something that I have done. It's something that I continue to do. I am a super normal mom with a lot of kids, and it's possible. And there's a very specific way, there are very specific things that you need in order to make it happen, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So you are in the right place. You are about to spend your hour in the best way if you need to declutter your home too. If you have kids at home, if you have tried to declutter and can't seem to figure out how to do it, you don't have a lot of time or energy to spend on doing this because your day-to-day life is already full. The kids have to eat, a minimum of 3 times a day. If they're like my kids, they probably eat like 10 times a day. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with laundry. You have to deal with school. You have to deal with bills, work, sports, having friends over, church, all of these things you have going on in your everyday life. You just don't have a whole lot of time to do this as well. And you're just fed up, right? You're like at the end of your rope. You are totally overwhelmed by your clutter. It consumes your life. You feel like all you're doing is cleaning up all of the time. You feel like maybe something is wrong with you, like you're a bad housekeeper, or you're like me and I used to wonder like who decided I was responsible enough to have kids. I can't even keep my house straight, right? And I want to let you know there's nothing wrong with you. You just have too much stuff. And I know it sounds silly almost, but once you declutter and once you get the excess out, it gets so easy. And you can look back and realize like nothing was wrong with me. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm a great mother. And your house gets easy to maintain, right? So if you want that, you are in the right place. I don't want you to feel embarrassed to have friends or family over anymore like I used to do, or like I used to take a picture and like move stuff out of the background or like zoom in really close so you couldn't see the background, right? I don't want you to have to do that anymore. I want you to go to bed with a clean house and not because you cleaned up all day. It's just that easy for you to do now. Okay, so here is what we are going to cover in this class today. The top 3 things that any mom needs to do in order to declutter her home, what a doable decluttering plan looks like and how to make one for yourself, the most important part of decluttering and how to make sure that you actually do this, how to make decluttering not suck, because I think it can actually be very fun and enjoyable for the whole family, and we're going to talk about how to do that, and how to ensure that you are making progress toward your clutter-free home in the simplest way possible. So if you have not gotten some pens and paper, red, yellow, green, if that's possible for you, go get it now, come meet me back here, and we will get started. I'm actually going to pause this recording to go get my coffee. So if you need to do that too, go ahead and do that. Okay, we're back with coffee, pens, paper. Hopefully we're good to go. So I want to let you know real quick why your decluttering efforts haven't worked before and whether you have not even been able to figure out how to start or you have started and not been able to finish. It's either one, two, or all three of these reasons. And I want to tell you this because it's not your fault. You didn't know these things, and I'm going to teach them to you. And once you know them, you can do something with them and you can start and finish your decluttering process. So, the actual problem and reason you haven't decluttered yet is not actually because you have kids, right? I know a lot of times that's the thing that we say as moms: I can't declutter because I have kids, or I haven't decluttered yet because I have kids. And yes, kids make it harder to do because we have to work around them. They go through our piles, they make us want to keep everything, right? Like there's a lot of reasons that kids really do slow us down, but ultimately you can still declutter even if you have kids. And actually, I love to spread this idea that instead of saying we can't declutter because we have kids, we need to declutter because we have kids. They need us to declutter our house too, so that they can have a mom that has more time, more energy, more clarity, more peace, more patience, more time to play, right? So we need to declutter because we have kids, not we can't declutter because we have kids, okay? So the first reason that you haven't been able to start or finish your decluttering is because you haven't had a plan, right? You waste a whole lot of time trying to figure out what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You don't have decluttering strategies, right? You don't know what steps to take and you don't know what order to take them in. You probably are like a lot of other moms and myself who look at their house and think, what the heck is all of this stuff? Where did it come from? And how do I get it out, right? A lot of times we don't even know the first step. And if you don't know the first step, you can't even get started. And if you do get started and you don't have a full plan for how to actually finish it, you're never going to finish it, right? So you haven't had a plan up until this point. You probably are also overcomplicating the process. And what I mean by this is that at the end of the day, all decluttering is getting rid of your excess stuff. That's it. You're taking the stuff in your home that is excess, that is not needed, that you don't have room for, and you're getting it out of your house. That's it. And the reason that decluttering gets complicated is because we are humans, right? We have a lot of emotions, we have a lot of feelings. We deal with things like, what if I need it? What if I need it just in case? I spent a whole lot of money on this and I feel very bad that I wasted so much money. This was a gift, right? And I feel bad getting rid of gifts from people. These were hand-me-downs, right? These are very practical things that I have and they could be used by somebody or myself at some point. I don't want it to go to the landfill. I feel guilty about it. And all of these reasons, right? Maybe it's keeping up with the Joneses, right? We are fed a lot of information that says we need to have more, we need to have better, we need to have the best of the best. Pinterest and Instagram send us all of these messages. And so we keep things that we don't need, right? And because we don't have a plan, those emotions override everything and they make the process complicated. And then we overcomplicate it and then we get stuck. So having a plan actually simplifies this process for you. You know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. When you have a plan, you have the space and the bandwidth to process these emotions and digest them and take action on them instead of just getting stuck in this overcomplicated emotional space. And the third reason that you haven't decluttered yet is because you haven't had any accountability or support to hold you to it, right? You don't have the structure there to keep you moving forward. And it all starts with personal responsibility, right? You have to commit this to yourself. But 98% of people, I can't remember the exact place that I learned this, but there's 2% of the population who will do things just without any form of external accountability. 98% of people need external accountability. We need companies to send us when our bills are due, right? We need, otherwise we're just not going to pay them, right? If we don't get that notice, whether it's email, paper mail, a notification on our phone saying your bill is due on this day by this time, we would just pay it whenever, right? It's why we have schools with structures and systems, why workplaces have systems and structures and processes. You need structure around your plan and around your life to hold you to this, saying do this first, next, and last, do this in this order, do it by this time. And when you have that structure, you can make it flexible, right? It doesn't have to be a steel rod type of structure saying do it this way right now or not at all. You can make it fluid, but you do need some kind of support. And you likely need, unless you're part of that 2% of the population, external accountability, an email reminder, a calendar reminder, a group of people, right? An accountability partner, somebody who can check in with you, right? You need that kind of structure to help you follow through. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you are part of the 2% of the population, I am envious of you because I need to like have a group of people where I can say, I'm going to do this by this date. Please check in with me. And then I feel more like I'm more likely to get the things done. Okay. So let's talk about how getting to the root of these problems will change everything for you. Okay. When you, oops, hold on. Okay, I have 5 kids, guys, and I could hear the baby starting to do her thing. So when you declutter, here are the amazing things that are going to happen for you. And I just want to touch on these real quick before we dive into the creating your own decluttering plan so that you can have this vision and this excitement as you start to create your decluttering plan and move into the actual implementation of your plan so that you can declutter your home. Okay, when you have a clutter-free home, this is one of my favorite things because I love having like order around me. You will be able to go to bed with a clean house and not because you spent all day cleaning. One of my favorite things that happens for moms who declutter inside of the Motherhood Simplified space or the Decluttering Simplified course that I have created is that their family members will make comments like, oh, wow, it looks so nice in here. You did a great job today. And they didn't do anything. They probably took a nap, right? Like I didn't do anything. The house is just clean. And when you declutter enough, this becomes your new normal. Now, is it perfect every single day? Am I saying that you have like the house perfectly staged? Absolutely not. It's still going to look like you have, 7 people living in it like us, but everything's taken care of, right? Decluttering your house makes your house work for you, not against you. And it makes you appear like you've done a whole lot of work, especially if you have had a house in the past that does take a lot of work. So that's one of the benefits you have. It happens for me most of the time. Sometimes we fall behind, like if somebody gets sick, we might get a little bit behind, but I can still recover in like a couple hours. Okay, the next thing that's going to happen is that you will become a true gatekeeper of your home. You are going to be confident and in control of what comes into and out of your home without the guilt, right? Most of the time. I will say that sometimes still when like my kids get extravagant gifts from family and friends, I feel bad when we donate it, but ultimately I know that I'm making the decision for the overall benefit of our family and our space. But you will be equipped with the skill set and the experience to make decisions on what comes in and what goes out of your home. And there's this thing that happens, I call it the revolving door of clutter, when we're always going to have things coming into our homes, which means that we're always going to have things going out. But when we declutter, that door slows way down, right? Instead of having to take 6 carloads to the donation center every week, you're taking like 1 every few months, right? And so you slow that down because you become the master of your home. You become the gatekeeper of your home. It saves you money, it saves you time, it saves you energy, literally all of the good things, which is the last thing that I want to talk to you about is that when you declutter your home, it trickles out into every area of your life, your relationships, your finances, your health, your wellness, your hobbies, your career, your friendships, your self-care, who you are as a person. You have more time to read. And because you clear up this physical space that is like the squeaky oil gets the wheel. I love metaphors, by the way. That's what your clutter is. And it's demanding all of your attention all of the time. Even if you aren't explicitly like cleaning something up, it's in your head and it's consuming your mental space, your emotional space. And once you clear that physical clutter, you have so much space, time, energy, room to breathe. For me and for countless moms I can't even keep track of anymore, when they do the Decluttering Simplified course, they have so much time, they literally don't even know what to do with it. Oftentimes they make posts about being bored and saying that they're helping their family declutter their homes now, or they have time to, make a career change or take naps or get fit and healthy again. All of these things. And it is funny too, though, sometimes like it feels pretty uncomfortable to have so much time and to not be stretched so thin that I get questions like, I'm super bored. Like, I feel like I should go get more clutter just so that I have more things to declutter. Don't do that. You'll move into the next phase of like figuring out what to replace your time spent with, and you'll figure it out. But that's the things that happen when you declutter. So I just wanted to share you that before we move into the meat and potatoes of this training. Okay. Now, I want to let you know that this slide I noticed has a typo and I don't want to fix it. So we're just going to leave it as is. It looks like the baby hit the keyboard. But I do want to let you know that what I'm about to teach you is not anything that I have that is a theory. Okay. I've done it for myself. I have helped hundreds of other moms do this for themselves, and it can work for you too if you let it work for you, right? If you follow the steps laid out, this will work for you. Now, if you don't know my story, real quick, we back in 2013, my husband and I moved from Alaska to Florida with our then family of 5. We have 7, or we're a family of 7 now, with only 1 suitcase each. And we did it in about a month's time. He moved to Florida before us to get a house and everything settled. I stayed back in Alaska and I got rid of every single thing in our house other than what fit into our suitcases. I also was the owner of a preschool. I rented out a 1,000-square-foot house, and I had to declutter that house too. And it was a preschool, and I was a teacher, and I was a mom, and I felt like I was the craftiest person in the world. So you can imagine how much stuff I had. And I did it in 4 weeks, which is why when we talk about decluttering simplified at the end of this presentation, I teach a 4-week decluttering plan. It is possible. Now, at the time, I did not know that decluttering was a thing. I didn't know it was something that people did on purpose. I didn't know that it was something that people wanted to learn how to do. I just knew that we were moving from Alaska to Florida. We didn't have enough money to ship our stuff to us. It didn't make sense to keep it in a storage unit. So we got rid of it all. I did not know what I was getting into. And it changed everything for me. So back in Alaska, we had 3 kids. I worked 10-hour days as a sole proprietor. My nights and weekends were spent cleaning up all of the time, trying to get the house organized, trying to get the school organized, trying to catch up on groceries, trying to catch up on laundry, trying to also spend time with my family, right? Also trying to have a life outside of mom life and work life, and being a good wife and being able to go on dates with my husband and paying my bills and trying to be a responsible adult who didn't feel like every single day I was drowning, right? And when I got to Florida, that didn't happen. And it was the weirdest thing because we moved, we didn't have any family around. I didn't know anybody in Florida. I didn't have any family. I didn't have any friends. I had left the only place I had ever called home where all of our family was. Both of our families were there. I didn't have any of my stuff. I had to get a new job. I had to work 2 teaching jobs to replace my income. My husband was starting up a business. And on paper, life should have been so much harder, but it wasn't. We could spend our weekends playing and going to the beach and doing all of these fun new things. And I haven't been behind on laundry since we moved. And it wasn't because I moved to Florida. It wasn't because the weather was amazing and I was 10 minutes from the beach. It's because I did not have stuff inside of my house weighing me down anymore. It wasn't consuming my time. I could no longer be frustrated with my husband for not helping me clean up because everything was done and he was helping me. I couldn't nag my kids anymore or be annoyed by their messes because it took us 5 minutes to clean up. And it's been like that ever since. And that is the power of decluttering. So when I tell you all of these things that I'm going to teach you, we're going to get to it in a minute. It's not a theory. I promise you it works. And it's not something that only works for me. It has worked for all of the other moms who I have taught this to, and they implemented it, right? Learning it and keeping it in your brain is not going to help you. You have to implement it. Okay, so get your pen and paper because this is where the training starts. These are the 3 things that you need in order to declutter your home as a mom, okay? You need to have a plan. And more than a plan, you need to break it down into bite-sized pieces. Okay, we're going to talk about this more specifically in just a second. We're going to play a little game. But saying things like declutter my house this weekend is not a plan. That's the result you want. Okay, so you need to break your plan down into bite-sized pieces. And then you need to map out those steps. Okay, so you need to break it down into actionable steps and you need to put it into order so that you don't end up doing that if you give a mouse a cookie mom thing where you start in the kitchen and then you walk to the bathroom and then you go to the closet and then you walk to the bedroom and then the garage and then you end up back in the kitchen wondering why you didn't get anything done, right? You have to put them in steps in order so that you can check them off as you go. And just like we talked about at the beginning, you need to set dates. You need to give yourself a boundary of when you're actually going to finish these steps. And again, that doesn't mean that if you don't finish it by the first date that you set, that all is lost and you should just quit. You can change your dates, but you do need a boundary. You do need something to work toward in a tangible place where you want to say, okay, I'm done, right? Now, the second thing that you need is accountability. You need to have personal responsibility and commitment to this, because here's the thing. As much as we joke about saying, somebody can just do this for me, right? Can somebody come declutter my house for me? No, they can't. And if you ask yourself honestly, you don't really want that anyway, because they don't know what you want, right? What if they get rid of your most special things that they thought was trash and that's what you actually wanted to keep, right? You can get support in it and you can have somebody help you, but to push that responsibility and commitment off onto somebody else, you'll never have success. You have to want this for yourself too, and you have to commit to this. Now, the next piece of your accountability is that you have to follow through, right? That's part of having the dates set. You can think about your plan, you can write down your plan, you can map out your steps even, but if you don't follow through with your plan, it's never going to get done, right? If you don't ever actually declutter your home is never going to be decluttered. I know that sounds so profound, right? But for real, if you don't declutter your home, it's never going to be decluttered. You have to follow through. And the last piece of your accountability is to have a check-in system of some form. There are so many ways to do this. We'll talk about specific ways once we do the game that we're going to play in a minute. But it can be like a one-on-one decluttering partner, accountability partner type situation. It can be calendar alerts on your phone. It can be using a course like Decluttering Simplified that gives you weekly reminders, and we actually meet twice a month for co-decluttering sessions to actually declutter together. There are tons of ways to find a check-in system to help you with your accountability. And the last thing that you need to do is simplify it, right? Let it be simple. A lot of times we make it so much harder than it needs to be. So my experience has been that when you have a plan and you have the accountability and you know exactly what to do and you're doing it with people who are like you and have done it before or are doing it with you too, it actually becomes kind of fun, right? We have so much fun on our co-decluttering sessions. The kids get on and I have a decluttering playlist that I play. The kids dance on Zoom and we all laugh at their amazing dance moves and we have a lot of fun. And the moms are in the background decluttering. It doesn't have to suck, right? And you also need to, you probably won't like this one, but you do need to include your family. It is much simpler to include your family. It is very hard to declutter your home if you're trying to sneak everything out and around them. They're going to notice, they're going to wonder why you're being so weird about it, and they're going to make it harder for you because they're not going to feel included. They're going to feel violated and they're going to feel weird about it. So we'll talk about including them in a little bit. But the last thing that you need to do is trust yourself. Okay, you know what is serving your family and what is not. You know what they like to play with. You know what they don't like to play with. You know what they actually wear. You know what they don't wear. And when you have a plan and you have accountability and you have fun with it and you include your family in the process, trusting yourself and allowing yourself to trust yourself becomes a million times easier. Okay, now let's do this exercise together. I want you to get out your pen, paper, and if you got them, the red, yellow, and green markers. I'm going to go check on my kids real quick and pause this, and I will be right back. Okay, we're back and they're fine. Okay, so some of you are watching this live, some of you are watching this on the replay. We are going to do an activity together where we are going to rank ourselves red, yellow, or green based on these 3 things, actually technically 9 things that you need in order to declutter your home to help gauge what the areas of improvement are for you and what you need to focus on creating so that you can actually start and finish decluttering your home. Okay, so draw this out on your piece of paper. And for each of these sections, I am going to give you examples of what a red would look like, a yellow would look like, and a green would look like. And I'll change these based on your guys' answers in the chat. If you are watching the replay, just turn it whatever color you are. Okay, so we already talked about how you need a plan. You need accountability and you need to simplify it. You need simplicity. So for the first step of creating your plan, breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, this is what it looks like. If you are red, you thought that if you thought that saying something like declutter my house this weekend was a plan, or you've never thought about creating a plan before, or maybe you said declutter my kitchen today and you thought that was a plan, you would be red. You would be yellow if you have tried to form some kind of list before. Maybe you've downloaded free checklists. Maybe you have tried to plan it out and tried to create some kind of a plan for how to declutter your whole entire home, but you haven't quite figured out how to do it, which, by the way, that's totally okay. I have created an entire how to declutter your entire home plan, and it is not a simple thing, right? There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of rooms. You need to know different strategies, right? All of these things go into it. So if you've created some plans, maybe got like free checklists and stuff in the past, maybe bought the Marie Kondo book thinking it was a plan, you would be yellow. Now, you would be green if you have gone through your whole entire house, looked at every single room and category of stuff that you have and mapped it out into bite-sized projects. Like in the kitchen, the example that I like to give is, a lot of you guys are saying that you're yellow. Okay. In the kitchen, it would be like declutter the coffee mugs, declutter the Tupperware, declutter the silverware, declutter the spices, declutter the pantry, declutter the pots and pans, declutter hand towels, declutter cleaners, wipe down the insides of the cabinets, put it all back, right? That would be, and have you done that for every room in your house? Have you brainstormed strategies for how you will actually do the decluttering? How do you decide what to keep, donate, or trash, right? And do you have a system for that? If you have all of that, you're a green, okay? So most of you are saying, we have some reds and we have some yellows, but I think most of you are saying yellow. So I'm going to turn this to yellow. Okay, now, if you have created your steps, broken down all of your rooms and projects into bite-sized pieces that you can check off one by one, have you mapped it out and put it in order? If you're like, I don't even have the steps, or I was a yellow and I had no idea I needed to put it in order, you would be a red. You would be a yellow if you have kind of done similar to breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. If you were a yellow, you might be a yellow in this category. If you have thought about like doing it by room or thought about doing it by category, right? Or thought about doing it like this way and then this way and this way, but you haven't quite figured it out, you would be a yellow. Okay, most of you guys are like red, red, red. I didn't know I needed to put it in order. I never even thought about putting it in order, is what somebody is saying. I just do give a mom a cookie style and have decluttering ADD. Okay, yeah. Okay, so most of you are red and yellow already. I didn't get to green yet, but green would be like, yes, I know every single decluttering bite-sized project that I need to do. I have put it in a sequential order. I know exactly the flow of how I'm going to do this. You would be green. So I'm actually going to put that most of you guys are red because that's what you guys said. Okay. And then the last thing is to set a date. Do you have an end date in mind for when you want to be done decluttering your home? Now, again, you would be red if you're like, I never even thought about it. I just thought that I would declutter and then I would be done at some point. Yellow would be, yeah, I know that I need to stop at some point, and I've set dates in the past, but I've never met them. The reason, PS, that you haven't met them is probably because you didn't have a plan and you weren't mapping it out and you didn't have the accountability. So it's not your fault. You would be a yellow then if that's you, and you would be a green if you're like, yes, my plan and my map of how I'm going to do this has dates next to it. I've been checking them off as I go, and I'm giving myself a whole lot of grace if I need to change the date. But also, sometimes I finish sooner, right? Then you would be a green. Okay. So a lot of you are saying red. Actually, a lot of you guys are saying like yellow, orange. What are we? Yellow, orange. Let's go with yellow. Okay. I think you guys are mostly yellow for this one. And there's this idea of Parkinson's law, which is why you need a date, that says if you have an unspecified amount of time or money or space or anything at all, resource, an unspecified and unlimited amount, you're going to use all of that. When you give yourself a specific amount, you are more likely to stick with it, right? And the same is true with time, which is why we need dates. If we don't have an end date, we're never going to finish, right? We're just going to keep doing it indefinitely. If we say, I'm going to be done with this in 3 months, you might not be fully done in 3 months, but you are going to get a whole lot more done than if you set no date at all, which is why it's so important. Okay, accountability. Let's talk about that. Personal responsibility and commitment. You are a red if you really, truly just want somebody to take all of your stuff out for you and you don't really care. You don't want your house to be your own. You just want to live in a bare, empty room and have nothing. That would be you if you are a red. You would be a yellow if you really want this for yourself, but you are scared and you want some help and you wish that somebody could maybe just come in for a weekend and get a whole lot of it done, and then maybe that'll be enough for you, right? But then you would be kind of a yellow, but you would be a green if you were like, yes, I want this. Yes, I'm ready to do this. I'm willing to accept help. I'm willing to give myself grace. If somebody wants to come help me, heck yes, I'm going to take it. But ultimately, it's not their responsibility. It's mine. And I'm going to commit to this. Okay, lots of you guys are saying green. Good. So I'm going to change this to a green. Yay. Which is probably the most important one to be green on, to be honest. Because nobody can turn this green for you, right? You can get a plan, and that can turn green because somebody gives you a plan, somebody gives you a map, right? Okay, anyway. Follow through. Okay, you would be a red if you've never followed through, right? Or maybe you just haven't started, and that's okay. You would be a yellow if you have started, but you haven't figured out how to finish. And you would be a green if you you have your dates, you have your checklists, you have started and finished a lot of projects already. Maybe you've done maybe one of my free programs like Clear Your Clutter, and you've checked off all of those programs in there, or all of those decluttering projects in there. You would be a yellow, right? You're making progress and you know that you want to follow through. You just haven't quite figured it out yet. If you would be a green, if your house is totally decluttered and you are coasting through in maintenance mode with no issues at all, then you would be a green. Okay. So a lot of us are saying, I think most of the yellows, I have seen a couple reds. Where's the, okay, here we go. Okay. Oops, yellow. Just make these yellow. Okay. Now, a check-in system. So you would be a red if you had no idea that you needed some kind of check-in system, right? You didn't know that having an accountability partner or having a group of people to hold you accountable or being a part of a decluttering community is something that was out there. And you know what? There shouldn't be any reds in here or commenting with reds because we're here in a community right now, right? So you're watching this. So you're probably not a red. You would be a yellow if you have joined decluttering groups, if you have listened to decluttering podcasts, if you have tried decluttering checklists before, or you have tried to find accountability partners and then you both fall off the bandwagon together, right? And you would be a green if you have really dialed in and found a very specific and enthusiastic community to support you, to actively show up for you, to send you reminders, to teach you how to create reminders for yourself in your phone and teach you those strategies to meet up with you on a regular basis to get your decluttering done, then you would be a green. And I want to let you know that's exactly what happens in Decluttering Simplified, the 4-week program. We have twice a month co-decluttering sessions, which I talked about earlier. We'll talk about it again, where we literally just get on Zoom. I play our special decluttering playlist and we declutter together. It's my way of holding you accountable. And in addition to that, the course lays out a ton of practical check-in systems for you to use for yourself. My learning platform sends out weekly reminders to say, hey, get into your course. This is where you left off. The check marks and everything. If you have life happen, somebody gets sick or whatever, you can come back to it and pick up right where you left off. Like I teach so many check-in systems, strategies inside of this course that that's part of my commitment to you when you get into the course is like, I'm going to keep checking in on you and making sure that you're getting this done. Okay. So that you would be a green if you have all of that. You would be a yellow if you have been looking for that, but you haven't quite figured it out, and you'd be a red if you didn't even know it was a thing. But most of us seem to be yellows because, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. And I'm watching this on Facebook too. Sorry, everybody on Facebook. I cannot see. I will come back and answer questions if you have them, but for now, I don't want to get distracted. Okay. So let's talk about simplicity and keeping it super simple. You are a red if you just don't trust yourself at all to get rid of anything because you are too consumed by what if, just in case, I spent money on it. I don't know that I can trust myself to make these decisions. You would be a red, and that's okay, right? Like clutter can be overwhelming, and making these decisions can be overwhelming. And the KISS part, by the way, it means keep it super simple. And remember, okay, there's a lot of reds for this. Okay, keep it super simple. All decluttering is getting rid of your excess stuff that you don't have room for, that you have duplicates of, that you don't ever use, that is taking up space, and getting it out of your house. It can be that simple. Okay. Okay. Now, some of us, I think we have a lot of reds for this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this red, which is okay. Okay. Now, you would be a yellow if you were like, yes, I've decluttered in the past. I trust myself, but I'm still super afraid of it. Decluttering feels complicated and hard and messy, and what if, just in case, wasted money, wasted resources, what if I need it? All of those things. And then you would be a green if you're like, heck yeah, like I know exactly what to do. It's super easy for me to just get rid of things all of the time. Okay, so yeah, again, still reds. A few yellows. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to scroll down. Okay, now let's talk about including your family. You would be a red if you just want to sneak everything out behind their backs, which I do not recommend. And it's okay if this is how you're feeling right now. So if you feel red, go ahead and put red. Okay, we're seeing some reds. Yellow would be, I want to include my family, but I don't know how. They slow me down. They make it a lot harder. And I feel like it would be easier if I just did it by myself and I didn't include them. But I want to, but it's hard. So I don't really want to. Right? Okay, so there's lots of yellows for here. Yellows for here. And you would be a green. I guess I should give you guys a chance to be green too. A green would be, yes, I include my family all of the time. It's super easy. They are all on the same page as me with decluttering. And that's it. And the other end of it could be too, like maybe you're the one who doesn't want to declutter, but your spouse does, right? Which is also okay. So we talk about how to include your family in all of the ways. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Okay, now having fun. Are you a red, a yellow, or a green? You would be a red if you don't want to have fun decluttering. I'm just going to say that. My mic is missing it. Okay, if you don't want to have fun decluttering, you just want to like rage declutter all the time and have it be done. That's it. That's okay. yellow, you're like, okay, I know it probably can be fun. I don't know how, but I really don't want it to suck, but it's hard and it makes me want to cry because it's so overwhelming and I freak out when I see all the piles of stuff. You would be a yellow. And then you would be a green if you're to the point where I am, and several other mothers where you're like, heck yeah, I love decluttering. It is freeing, it is powerful. I want to help everybody do it. You would be a green. Okay, so it looks like most people are yellows here. Some reds, some greens. And I know you green moms. I know you because they've done the course. Okay, again, I'm gonna go check on my kids real quick and I will be right back. Okay, everybody's good. Okay, so the reason that I wanted to do this activity together is so that you can gauge what you need to focus on in order to create your decluttering plan, right? If you are all reds in your plan, you need to make a plan, right? If you are all red in these areas, right, you need to find some accountability. If you are red and yellow in these areas, this is where you need to find support. And the goal is to turn all of these green. And I will let you know that in order to turn this simplified leg of this chart green, you really need these two to be green first, because if you can get these two green, it kind of by default turns these green. It empowers you to trust yourself. It gives you the tools and you feel empowered to include your family. And it just makes it so much more enjoyable when you aren't scrambling and trying to figure out what to do and make this work for your family. And then of course it's fun. And of course it's enjoyable because it's working well for you. Okay, so I hope that you did this for yourself and I hope that you can see what you need to focus on. And if you're still like, oh my gosh, this seems like a lot, just hang in there because I have a little bit more to show you to help you with this, okay? But quick, let's recap. Okay, so we talked about the 3 things that any mom needs to do in order to declutter her home. She needs to make a plan, she needs to find accountability, and she needs to make it super simple. What does a doable decluttering plan look like and how to make one? Okay, so I talked about it a little bit in that presentation of like what pieces go into a decluttering plan, breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, mapping it all out and putting it in sequential order and setting a date. That's what a doable decluttering plan looks like. And when I talked about like how to do the kitchen, that's how you make one. If you are overwhelmed by that and you're like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know, it's overwhelming to you, great, hang on, and you can get into Decluttering Simplified, where I've done that exactly, and I've broken it down into a 4-week plan and giving you literally every single thing you need for your decluttering plan and your accountability. Okay, now the most important part of decluttering, I don't know if I explicitly said it, but it's to follow through. Following through and that accountability is the most important part of decluttering, because if you don't declutter your house will never be decluttered. You have to follow through, which means that you can't just take that pile of stuff and put it into your car for 3 months. You have to actually take it to the donation center, because that's 3 months of, more carloads that you could have been putting into your car to take away. You have to follow through. Keeping all of this information that we've talked about today in your brain does not declutter your house. At some point, you just have to do it and you just have to follow through. So, how do you make decluttering not suck? You make a plan and you hold yourself accountable to it, and you let that plan and that accountability simplify everything for you so that you have the space and the bandwidth to process all of the more complicated pieces of decluttering, like dealing with your kids' toys and their stuff and the guilt and the wasted money and all of those things. And finding a community to do it with you makes it not suck. Having fun during our co-decluttering sessions in Decluttering Simplified. Okay, and how to ensure you are making progress toward your clutter-free home in the simplest way possible is by having a plan. That's really it. If you don't have the plan, you don't have it mapped out, you don't have your end date, you don't have your accountability and check-in system to follow through, you can't tell how much you've done and how much more you need to do. So you need to have that plan and you need to have that accountability so that you know where you started, how far you've come, and The great thing about that too is that when you start to feel discouraged of like, oh man, like I decluttered so much and I still haven't, I feel like I've gotten nowhere, you can remember how far you've come. Okay, let me go check on these babies again. Okay, a quick question. Are all of you also chasing your babies? Okay. Okay, so let's just cover this again really quick, and I have one more game to play with you. Okay, so you need a plan. You've got to break that plan down into bite-sized pieces and projects. You have to map out those pieces and steps into a step-by-step process so that you stay focused and efficient. And then you've got to set your dates for when you actually want to be done with this, because nobody wants to be decluttering forever. We want to get it done and move on with our life. Then you need accountability. You need to take personal responsibility and commit to this, and you have to follow through. And the way that you do that is by having a check-in system. So you've got to find some form of an accountability check-in system. And then you've got to keep it simple. Simplify it, keep it fun, include your family, and learn to just trust yourself. You know exactly what your family needs and does not need. Okay, so let's play one more game. We're going to make this fun little drawing. I'm going to use the one that I've used in the past with the answers from moms that we've used in the past, but this is going to help you figure out what your next step is and how you're going to create your decluttering plan, or if you would like to join me and use my decluttering plan. Okay, so here we go. Like I said, I've done this. This is one that I've done with moms in the past. And I wanted to do this because I get very distracted in the chat and then we waste a whole lot of minutes. Okay, so imagine this is you right now, and you can draw this on your own paper. Draw a circle, you right now. These are your 3 paths that you can go on, okay? So this path here leads you to your ideal home. This path here leads you to your average, where you're at right now home. And then this path down here is your disaster home. This is like things just got infinitely worse, and I don't know how I'm going to survive, right? So your ideal home is that you can go to bed with a clean house and you didn't clean all day. You can find everything when you need it. You have more uninterrupted time with your family. You can walk in the door and feel relief rather than overwhelm. You are not afraid or embarrassed to have company over. I know where everything is. I have open spaces. I feel more comfortable. My house is clean most of the time. It's relaxing. I'm not behind on chores. There is a place for everything. Okay. So that would be your ideal spot. For me, it's not having to spend nights and weekends catching up. It's freedom. It's being able to do what I want when I want. It's being able to just sit on the couch and watch my kids play and drink my coffee while it's hot and not get behind on laundry. Easily being able to see when the house needs to be deep cleaned, like when the toilets need cleaned and those kinds of things. I can easily see it now. Whereas before in my cluttered house, it was like, I couldn't even tell how filthy it was, to be honest. Okay, so that's your ideal situation. Here is your it's good, it's okay, or where you're at right now. I spend my weekends catching up instead of relaxing. I invite people over and I justify my messes, right? Like, oh, don't mind the mess in the bathroom. And you know what? A lot of times this happens in the Facebook group too, of like people posting pictures and being like, oh, don't mind the mess on the floor. Stop apologizing for that, okay? There is no need to justify your messes. Not having family over because I need to do chores, family or friends over because I need to do chores. Rush cleaning, right? So you like rush clean when people are coming over. Or here's a secret. When my husband used to go out of town, I would have to rush clean the night before he got home to make it look like I wasn't a total slob while he was gone, right? I don't have to do that anymore. Panicking over Christmas, right? Or birthdays or holidays and all the things coming in, being angry and taking it out on my kids, feeling generally dissatisfied, right? This is kind of like coasting along with how a lot of moms are feeling right now about their homes. And a disaster, if it got worse, is never making any progress, having no room for anything, always stressed, giving up, being in debt, having piles everywhere. For me, I know this is a little bit dark, but leaving my family with a house full of stuff that is totally overwhelming to them and they don't know what to do, and making my burden my legacy, right? Um, I don't want my legacy to be burden on my family, right? So that would be a disaster for me. No, that's dark, but it's true. So many of us end up having to take on our family members' burdens, and that ends up being a part of the legacy that they leave, is like us having to process and choose what to do with all of this stuff. And I'm just speaking as somebody who's had to do it. Um, okay. And it's not, I'm not like mad at my family members or anything, but it was very overwhelming and I don't want to do that to my family. Okay. So here's the thing here. Imagine this first pink line is 3 months from now. Imagine this second line is 6 months from now. And then imagine this last one is 1 year from now. You are at a point of decision. I've given you so much information and steps to take to create a decluttering plan that works for you. Now it's up to you to choose the direction that you want to go. Do you want to create your decluttering plan and get your accountability and start making progress towards your ideal house? Do you want to keep carrying on per usual as if you didn't hear anything we talked about today? Or do you want to go even further and maybe do the opposite? Maybe keep buying more things, keep taking on hand-me-downs, keep spending your evenings and weekends at the thrift store and the dollar store buying things you don't need, or shopping on Amazon and getting more and more stuff in your home and not ever getting a grip on what we bring into our home, never getting rid of anything and ending up here, right? So the longer you wait, the closer and further away you can get, right? And the thing is too, even if you went like this way for 3 months, the jump in 3 months, the jump from, this is good and okay to ideal is not that big. But if you wait a year, it's going to be a lot bigger, right? You're going to have a lot more stuff. You might even have more kids by that point. You might have a lot more, life circumstances that make it harder for you to make this jump from where you are to where you want to be. So start now. And my question to you is, which way are you going to start? Are you going to start and create your own decluttering plan? Or do you want to use my decluttering plan that I have created for you, which walks you through exactly how to do this step by step? And actually, I'm going to pause this real quick so that I can open it up. I didn't even think about it until just now, but I can show you exactly what's inside of the course so that you can see exactly how it works and fits into this framework. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to show you this. So this is Decluttering Simplified. This is the course. This is the decluttering plan that I have created based on everything that I taught you in this course. And I will show you exactly what this looks like in action. And hopefully you will see like what it actually takes to create a decluttering plan and maybe why you haven't been successful in the past. So when you enroll, you get access to this right away. And this is exactly what it looks like. I have a quick intro. You get access to the Mastermind Facebook group, is where I do bonus trainings. I have guest experts. It's where I host our co-decluttering sessions and everything. You get support from the other moms in the community. And here's the fun part, kind of a side note. I used to be a Montessori teacher. Part of the Montessori philosophy is mixed ages, so that the younger kids can learn from the older kids and the older kids can master their skills and education and knowledge by teaching the younger kids. And that's exactly how our group is designed. There are newbie decluttering moms. There are veteran moms. The new moms get support from the veteran moms. The veteran moms get to solidify their decluttering skills by teaching it to other moms and sharing their experiences. A beautiful co-creative space. You get access to all of our co-decluttering sessions, which happen twice a month, where we get on Zoom together and declutter. And you get to actually implement all of this decluttering projects, all these decluttering projects in your course together. This is one of my forms of accountability, which, I talked about is so important to your success. Now you also get a bonus toy decluttering 101 course that unlocks 30 days after your enrollment. And then you get the closed decluttering 101 course that unlocks 60 days after your enrollment. And I do that very specifically because, again, I believe in mapping out your steps and doing them in order. And by having you unlock these at a certain time, it helps me stick to that. And that's what I've seen work the best for moms. Now, we do cover clothes and toys in the 4-week plan, but these 2 bonus courses are a deep dive into total toy decluttering and clothes decluttering management. Okay, I hear the baby, so hold on 1 second. All right, she woke up early from her nap, but that's okay. So what I have found, though, with these 2 courses is they are there. You have a lot more success with them after you've done the 4-week plan. One of my philosophies and really strong beliefs is that before you declutter your kids' stuff, you really need to declutter your stuff first and lead by example. So that's why I have you do the 4-week plan first before you get the toy course. It's not to be bossy or controlling, right? Okay, so here is the 4-week plan. Each week, I give you a pep talk of what exactly you're doing this week, how exactly to do it, how and where to find your decluttering checklists. I give you actually, let me see if I can open it. I give you the options to use Trello or a spreadsheet where you can auto-populate your due dates. You put your end date when you want to be done by at the top, and it will auto-populate the dates for you and give you the checklist of everything you need to do that week. You have that for all 4 weeks. You can use it via this spreadsheet. You can use Trello, and I have printable checklists that you can use as well. So each week you get that, focusing on what exactly to do. I also give you the strategies that you need to follow. We're going to get all the babies here today. Oh, you can be here, but shh. All the strategies to use, because different parts of your house require different strategies. The way that you declutter a spice cabinet is very different from the way that you declutter your toys, right? So in each section, this is a great freeze frame, has audio and video and a written section for the parts that need written, dialogue. I know there are different learning styles, but when I'm doing like visual tutorials, because I do actually show you like, this is how I would declutter this space. And I have sample rooms and decluttering projects for moms who have submitted their real life photos. I don't do written for that, obviously. So you have the 4-week plan, you follow it, you have your dates, you have the group, you have the co-decluttering sessions, you have your entire plan, step by step, all of your strategies, all of your accountability, all of your end dates laid out for you right here. I also include a quarterly maintenance plan that will unlock at 90 days for you. We have bonus decluttering strategies, bonus decluttering mindset support for like simplifying your expectations, what to do when you're too overwhelmed or when you get stuck, how to find, what you do want in your home. Kaylee, don't push those buttons. What you do want in your home, because eventually, you are going to be like, okay, so I got rid of all of this stuff. What do I actually want here? So we talk about that. We talk about if your spouse isn't on board. When you dive into the toy course, you get a whole lot of support in helping your kids declutter. There are just a lot of bonuses in here. And then I have it all broken down for you by room, including checklists and exactly how to declutter all of these different rooms and categories. So it goes by room and by category. And that's everything that you get inside of this course. Okay. So like I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to go create your own plan? Or do you want to just use mine? And as a bonus for watching this to the end, you will be getting a couple emails shortly with a big discount for this course. I will be completely honest and say that tech is not my strength and marketing is also not either. So I do know that you will get some emails for the next 2 days offering you this course at a big discount. And once those emails expire, the discount is gone. Okay. And I can't get it back. I have handed it off. I hired somebody to do this for me. And just like I like to have boundaries with my kids, right? When I tell them, this is what you can have and this is when you can have it, I like to hold my community to the same thing. So when I say you can have this discount until this day, once that's over, it's done, it's gone. You can get this course literally anytime, 24/7, 365. But because you've watched this video and because I feel like you are committed to this and you do want support, I want to give you an incentive for that. But I do need to have boundaries around it as a business owner, and as a mother, right? So for the next 2 days, it will be massively, massively discounted. I believe it's about an $80 discount, which is huge. It's huge. Okay. And I do put this course up for sale twice a year on Black Friday and on Mother's Day to the public. But aside from that, I don't do discounts and I don't do deals, just for this course. And when you get into Clear Your Clutter, the free decluttering plan, I do offer a limited time sale for that too. Because like I said, like I know that creating your decluttering plan and figuring out how to implement it and how to find a community that will actually be there for you is hard, right? It's not something that you can just like do in 5 minutes. It's taken me 2 years to perfect this course and master this course, and that's how long it took me to create this plan, right? So, and create the community around it and to kind of set the expectations of the community of like, we all help each other with this, right? It's been a very co-creative experience. And that's how I know that it isn't something that just works for me. It has worked for me and it continues to work for me. And it has worked for hundreds of other moms inside of this course. And it continues to work for them. And guess what? I've brought in a whole lot of moms who are ready to help the next moms coming into this, which means that it's not only me who's ready for you. You have a whole community of moms ready and willing to help you with this. So it's time for you to decide. Do you want to go off and do it yourself, or do you want to come with us? There is no right or wrong answer. I just want to offer it out to you. I think there is a button on this page that will link you to the discounted course, but for sure there will be some links or some emails in your inbox as well to get this discount. And like I said, it goes away after 2 days. And I have strong boundaries around that. I can't even unlock the discount myself after it's over. It's just done, which is fine. You can always get it at full price, which it's totally worth it at full price. But of course, if you can get it on a sale, why not? So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you have tons of action to take and move into your life. I hope to see you inside of the course group and at our co-decluttering sessions. We always have the kids around because we're moms and that's just how it works, right? And if you have questions, hit reply on one of the emails and let me know. One of the things that I do not hire out for is responding to my emails because I love to hear from you. I love the connection. I love the relationship building. I love to hear your stories. I love to hear your progress and your wins. Oh my gosh. And you know what? I think I'm just going to let them end this video being super cute, having a good moment, pushing each other in the background. And thank you for hanging out with me. I know we spent a lot of time together. We went over the hour mark. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon. If I can figure out how to hang up. Okay, bye.